Brothers and sisters, welcome back to Williams to World Drivers Champions, where I, the resident F1 expert of the Bash Bros, takes a fallen giant of the sport and tries to bring them back up to the top of the standings in F1 Manager 2022. Yes, we are in the midst of Season 2 of our Let's Play here. We've had some races, we're coming into round 4 of the 2023 season. That's going to be weird to say. And we have a lot of results to go through. So let's immediately get into it with Bahrain. So in Bahrain, our first race of the season, we qualified 16th with Albon, and Bottas managed to get all the way to Q3 and qualify a really good P7. By the end of lap 2, our drivers are 5th and 15th, which is really good. Bottas even making it up to P4 by lap 7. And then lap 9, he was kind of up and down between P4 and P7 as kind of DRS trains all took over and things like that. On lap 12, there was a virtual safety car caused by an Alex Albon incident, which is really unfortunate. It leaves him with some damage and has to pit. Bottas pits, and afterwards he comes out in 10th place and manages to put in 2 fastest laps consecutively, which is really good to see and shows the car has a lot of pace there. And we end up bringing the car home in P7 for Bottas and P14 for Alex. So already Bottas proving his worth, getting points in his first race back at Williams. Overall for the race, it was Max taking home the win, flanked by Charles Leclerc in second and Sergio Perez in third. No other weird results, obviously, with the teams being a bit shuffled up. We need to keep an eye out for those. Vettel not exactly performing well compared to Alonso is a bit strange, and well, our good friend Nicholas Latifi still at the bottom. In Saudi Arabia, both cars got through Q1 with ease. Albon finished up qualifying 13th in Q2, and Bottas gets another P7 qualification in Q3. In the very first lap, Alex actually crashes. And Latifi also crashes, causing a safety car. Not Alex's crash, that doesn't cause a safety car, which is fine. After the safety car restart, we are 7th and 18th. And then Sainz goes into the back of both Leclerc and Verstappen, causing another safety car. During the restart, Bottas is actually all the way up in the 3rd, which is really good. And Bottas is actually managing to keep pace with the Red Bulls, which is like with Max and Verstappen. Like he's able to match them lap for lap, no problem. And Albon has managed to battle his way all the way up to the 5th. Bottas gets a fastest lap on lap 34, and after some pits, Bottas is actually running in first for a couple of laps, which is incredible to see. And after Albon pits, he gets he comes back out in 10th. We get caught by Max in the end, but that does in fact mean that Bottas gets us a podium in his second race back at Williams. We are second with Max Verstappen first and Sergio Perez third. This was so cathartic getting this result after so fucking long. An absolutely chaotic race that we managed to take advantage of the likes of Sainz crashing out and kind of hampering his teammate and Verstappen, and just made the best use of the safety cars when they came. So Bottas managing to make up 5 positions is absolutely phenomenal. So fair play, and yes, Alex managing to get his first point of the season, which is really good. Then finally in Australia, both drivers get out of Q1, no problem. Albon qualifies 13th again, and Bottas gets 8th in qualifying, and by the end of the first lap we are 8th and 12th. Russell spins, and that actually sends Bottas off the track, so he's down in 13th. And after the pits, we are 10th and 17th. Bottas again gets the fastest lap. Does that quite a lot actually. We are showing there is pace in that car, that we can manage to pick up the fastest lap at times. And Albon locks up. Alonso locks up, which takes out Bottas. A very similar incident to what we had last year. Lots of times people just locking up behind us and going into the back of us, taking us out. That triggers the safety car. And then the issues with the blue flags, which I think everyone is aware of. Just completely ruins us, as we are kind of all sent to the back. But we end up just 5/100ths of a second off points with Albon, which is kind of unfortunate, but we make do. In the end, not really much to complain about. we were taken out by circumstances beyond our control. And as you can see with the race report, Leclerc gets his first win of the season, flanked by Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly in the Alpine, which is really cool to see. Like, we went the whole of last season not seeing anyone on the podium bar Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes, and now 3 races in we've seen both Williams and Alpine on the podium, which is really cool. Other than that, no real shock results in there. Yes, apart from, yes, as you can see, we were so close to managing to overtake Vettel at the very end. Just, heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. So in terms of the standings, where are we? In terms of constructors, we are up in 5th. Obviously the non-point scoring in Australia kind of sets us back a wee bit and put us behind Alpine, who did really well in Australia. So we are down in 5th at the minute, but it does look like it's going to be a pretty fun fight between us, Alpine and Mercedes for that kind of 3rd spot. Hopefully. Not going to count my chickens yet. And with 3 teams yet to score points. Drivers, we are up in 5th place with Bottas. Very good again. Kind of taking a bit of a hit due to not scoring any points in Australia. And Alex Albon down in 12th with his single point. But more races to come. Lots of times for other people to DNF and not just us. Other than that, what has been going on in our season so far? We had our first regulation change, which was either it was either low speed downforce changes or high speed downforce changes. We went for we voted for low speed, I think. Did we? We did. With my thinking being our low speed is generally worse, so 30% of our low speed is easier to make up than 30% of our high speed cornerings. So that was my thinking there, which is going to be fine. I think this sort of stuff doesn't make a massive difference, obviously not this season at all, and hopefully the research we do towards the end of the season will balance that out. The other thing that happened, not technically in-game, is there's obviously been multiple patches for F1 Manager 22. We've seen new patches kind of deal with the lack of tire performance difference between, like, say, the hards and the softs and the mediums, and to deal with some of the degradation issues. I've done a couple of races with that, not in this, obviously in a separate save. You definitely do notice a lot more of a difference. There's a lot more variance in the way the tires handle and the times they're getting. So yeah, the main strategy is obviously going to be a lot more important, but hopefully we'll see how that goes this race. But for now, it is time to go forward, and I shall see you probably just after, or just before qualifying 1, maybe qualifying 2. Qualifying 1's become a bit of a formality for us now, so maybe I'll just go straight into qualifying 2 now. But I'll see you when I see you.
The hills of Tuscany are green to the south, but here in Imola the air is red hot. Welcome to Ferrari's turf for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. The track has been around since the 60s, but the first official Formula 1 race was held here in 1980. Let's see what excitement lies ahead this year. This is Imola, and it's an old school track with plenty of elevation changes and lots of corners. There's only one DRS zone here, but it follows the long straight right before Tamburello and should see plenty of action. At this early stage in the season, there are still plenty of opportunities for things to change. In this sport, there simply are no guarantees. Stay right here, because we're just getting started.
So you join us back at the start of Q2 with Alex just about to start his first flying lap of Q2. Both cars got through Q1, no bother, not an issue. I'm already seeing one of the big things with the new patch addressed, and that is cars getting out of the way a lot better when they're the slower car. It was a major issue before, and now they've definitely taken big steps to improve that, which is nice to see. So we have Alex coming in with a 23.3 in the first sector, and Bottas just faster than him, 0.03 of a second faster than him in sector 1. Sector 2, I believe, is coming up just before the chicane, if I remember correctly. Yep, a 26.3 for Albon. We'll have to see what Bottas gets. It's a 26.2, so again, a bit bigger a gap that time, but both cars still putting in pretty good laps. And as Albon rounds the final corner onto the pit straight, he's going to come home with a 1:15.4, which is a really good time. I think we were getting about 1:15.6 in Q1. And Bottas comes home with a 1:15.1. Fantastic. Hopefully throughout the session and next we'll maybe see that drop to a 1:14, a high 1:14. But I'll fast forward here. We'll get the cars on fresh sets of tires. These are older tires they are currently on, and we'll see where we are at the end of Q2. So on board with Bottas as he begins the final lap of Q2. As you can see at the side there, Alex just outside of the top 10 by 1/10 of a second. Both the Ferraris doing pretty poorly so far this season, I will say, so we should be aiming to get Alex above them if possible. No one else really out of position. Alonso maybe got blocked, but Vettel went out in Q1, so maybe the Alfa Romeo just isn't a great car around this track right now. And our main rivals, I believe, the Mercedes and the Alpines, both ahead of us right now, but hopefully we'll see. I don't know why you need to refuel. This has been a weird thing since like this patch, I will say, is like I keep getting these refueling warnings in qualifying that I never got before. But Albon manages to squeak into 10th place there. We'll see if he manages to keep that position. The Ferrari of... Is that Sainz ahead of him? No, Sainz is coming up now, so we'll need to see if Sainz manages to go faster. He does, which obviously drops Albon to 11th place. Bit unfortunate, but Alex has been a bit of a weaker driver this season, but not too bad, obviously. Let's see, Bottas comes home P6 ahead of both of the Alpines, which is what we want to see, and ahead of Russell in the Mercedes. Again, I'm calling them our close rivals. I hope this stays the case for the entire season, but we'll have to wait and see. Yep, confirmation there. Albon out in Q2, 11th place, still not bad, but just I'm going to say that's maybe just raw stats he doesn't have stopping him, but hopefully he'll get better. Fast forward, we'll join Bottas on his first Q3 lap. So we join Bottas on his first Q3 lap. He is just coming off the pit straight now into turn 1 and turn 2. He has Leclerc and Norris ahead of him, but both are also on their flying lap, so hopefully won't get any blockages from them. I think the Alpine and those Mercedes are on slow laps. I think we were the first 3 out of the pits. So Bottas' best time in Q2 was a 1:14.8, so that's what we're aiming for here, with pole time being an estimated 14.4, I think it said. So trying to make sure that's the sort of time we're getting. I'd like to see us at least get a 14.8. I think we can get that, so we need to be able to aiming to get that now as well. So far, obviously Bottas 2 green sectors, about on par with what he was doing in Q2, which is good to see. From what I remember, but as he comes, I'm assuming Leclerc is the fastest at the minute. Well, he was. But obviously Perez, the Red Bulls seem unstoppable this season, to be fair, so not expecting anyone other than Verstappen on the front row. Leclerc does a 1:14.5, we do a 1:14.95, so not our best time, especially compared to what we did in Q3. Hopefully another lap at the end of the session we'll see us rectify that, but I'll see you when we are at the end of the session and Bottas is on his final flying lap. Bottas beginning his final flying lap. He is the last man in this grid, so he will be the last man to set a time. Hopefully that means the track is at its best condition. Fingers crossed, but we'll have to wait and see. We are currently in a Mercedes. We are the meat in a Mercedes bread sandwich. So that's good. I think like we're ahead of both the Alpines, so I don't know what happened, how they managed to do such good times previously, but not going to complain. As you can see, Leclerc and Perez actually setting identical times as well, so Verstappen a bit off the pace, but all very good to see the Ferrari up there. Like they didn't look like they were exactly on the pace coming out of one of the qualifying sections. So Bottas has gone yellow in Q1 or sector 1 and green in sector 2, so that's pretty good. Gasly has just finished his lap and is ahead of us now, so hopefully Bottas can put in a faster lap. something more like the 14.8 that we saw him put in Q2. But here he comes around the final corner, his best lap. Will it be going up or down? It is. We have not managed to improve, so we are P7 for number 77. Bit disappointing we couldn't match our best time from Q2, but once I actually have the full stats, I will see if that would have been better too. I think we're pretty close. Like, I think 6th probably would have been the height of what we could have done, being ahead of Gasly in the Alpine, but we'll have to wait and see kind of what the difference in time was. So we are just before the race here. As you can see, we are set for rain in the middle of the race. So I have both of the guys going pretty long on a set of medium tires. Hopefully that lasts until the rain comes, and then we can just go straight on the intermediates and not have to worry about making 2 pit stops. It is quite a long stint, but Imola is not too rough on the tires, which is good to see, or which is good to know. But yes, we are due to have some very heavy rain over the course of 10 laps here. And then again around lap 50. So we want to try and get to about lap 31 with the tires, which is where we are planning to about pit. So we know that, yeah, that's when the rain's coming. Apart from that, nothing really to note. We have the drivers going full blast at the start. So I will hand it over to David Croft to get us started at Imola.
The drivers have now taken position on the grid, and it's looking like a cloudy day. And there's Valtteri Bottas. Not as close to the front as they might have wished for, but we know the race order can change a lot during those first few corners. And then we've got Alex Albon. They'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. And we're just moments away now. The crowd are on their feet in anticipation of this, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
So here we go, the start of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Bottas needs to make sure he gets ahead of Gasly pretty early on, which he has done handily, which is really good to see. Hopefully he keeps that position going into this first corner. Oh, it's very close, and Bottas goes a bit wide. But I think he's managed to keep that position, which is nice to see. Albon still down 11th, battling with his own Alpine. But Bottas getting up to 6th and hounding Lewis Hamilton, which is going to be really good. Got to make sure we stay ahead of these guys that we consider our constructors' rivals. So, Imola, as far as I'm aware, from real life and doing this before, it's not a great track for overtaking, so getting these early overtakes is vital for our positions, because the guys are going to have a tough time getting past people at the best of the time, so do it now while everyone is bunched up. So hopefully getting some good traction off these chicanes. It's probably your best shout for some of the overtakes, in hoping that you deploy your ERS early, you come out of those corners and make that be the way you get past. And Albon manages to get up into 10th place, into the points, putting Ocon behind him. Hopefully it will make quick work of that McLaren. As we start lap 2, I will tell them to turn everything down, because we need to make sure these especially these tires last the 30 laps we need them to last. Bottas actually got fastest lap on that first lap, which is really good to see. So let's see if he can actually put in a run on his former teammate Lewis Hamilton. But obviously without that ERS it might be a bit difficult, but we'll have to wait and see. Albon, on the other hand, is still battling with Norris. Ocon pretty close behind, but not overly close. Ricardo even further back. Bottas he's not dropping Gasly by any stretch of the imagination, but he's still a lot closer to Hamilton than Gasly is to him. And obviously only one DRS zone on that main straight in Imola, so we're not going to see DRS straight away. We'll see it on lap 4 technically. So hopefully that means we have a bit more time to create those gaps and get out of the DRS zones. But always nice to see this with fastest lap. As you can see, the two Red Bulls have just kind of bullied their way into the lead, which we kind of expected. But we're not racing for first yet. We are racing for a couple of points. Unless maybe the rain causes some havoc and we can sneak up into the podium again like we did in Saudi Arabia. But yeah, looks like we are hopefully leaving Gasly a bit behind us, so that means hopefully by the time we get around to the pit straight the next time, he's going to be outside that 1 second range, and we don't need to worry about any DRS from him, which means Bottas can focus solely on his task of overtaking Hamilton here, who's falling a bit behind the Ferraris. It was briefly over 1 second there, so we might luck out and he mightn't get any DRS. But once we see if we can manage this overtake on Hamilton with the DRS, we will potentially fast forward and see kind of what incidents and what happens before the rain is due to fall. So Hamilton is outside of that 1 second. I believe the ERS detection point, that's the wrong camera. The ERS detection point, I think we've passed it, so Hamilton shouldn't get it here. As our rear wing flicks open, we get it, Hamilton does not. So hopefully we make short work of Hamilton here and can just breeze past him. Not the longest straight in the world, so we might need to be a bit brave on the brakes, but it appears not. That Mercedes still a good car at the end of the day, so we're just going to have to keep at it and hope for the best. Albon is kind of falling into a train behind George Russell here, so that's probably just going to be a lot of DRS overtakes there. Oh, he did run a bit wide there, which is unfortunate, which lets Ocon pass, but he's going to be brave up the inside and get that position right back by the looks of it. Really good to see. So I'll fast forward a bit here, see what incidents maybe happen and where we are by the time the rain starts to fall in Imola. So Albon has locked up and went into the barrier. Fuck. It doesn't seem like he will be out of the race. Thankfully, he does get it back on track, but his front wing has taken, I'm assuming, major damage. So we will get him in, replace that, and we will probably just put him on the hards for now, and just have him see out until the rain. Really unfortunate. He's just doing nothing but make mistakes these days. It's really unfortunate.
Okay, box.
Because I do want Albon to kind of be a good member of this team and achieve some things, but he's just making so many mistakes every so often, and they're not, like, he's not under pressure there. He's not really fighting for a meaningful position, so just drive your race, don't do anything drastic, and then he just goes and locks a brake and fires it into a barrier. It's unfortunate. Bottas has fallen to the back of this DRS train, but this DRS train now stretches from 1st to 7th. As everyone now has DRS in this train, so hopefully Bottas can stay on the back of them. We're not going to tell them to push with the tires or anything, because we know we need to make these tires last pretty much to their limit. So if we fall a bit back, we're not too worried. Hopefully, I think they all started, everyone started on the mediums, so we'll need to wait and see who kind of is actually trying to do this one stop until the race, or until the rain, sorry. The likes of Alonso and Tsunoda definitely going to need to pit again, or pit before the rain comes, so we'll have to wait and see how everyone goes. So we'll fast forward again, nothing too interesting apart from Albon being a dick, and see where we are. Yes. So it is lap 30 and the rain has started to fall in Imola. We are quickly approaching the pit lane with... Alright, I'm going to queue up this pit just in case and just maybe just say delay it. The question, well, I suppose the problem I'm facing is, what is this a scale of in terms of, like, is it worth going straight onto the wets is kind of the question I'm asking myself. I'll maybe look to see what the likes of, like, Verstappen and those front runners do. Or is he going to pull into the pits now? He is. Okay. So I think they're all probably going to pit for Inter, so I should do the exact same. I should copy the leaders for now, because it's going to be bedlam in this pit lane, and I want to get in now.
Okay, box. seems to be quite...
They're pitting for the full wets. I'm pitting for the inters. I may have balls this up. Let's be honest. But we'll wait and see. Albon's still coming around, so we'll maybe see how quickly this rain comes. Oh, don't hold us here for longer than we need to be. Come on, let us out. So is everyone gone on? So everyone has gone on to the full wets, I think, apart from us. So we need to make the most of this weather while we can. So once I have control over Bottas, I will tell him to go all guns out and just drive like his life depends on it. Because we may have made a mistake here, but we'll see what happens. They're going to be a bit slower, having not been or being on the wet tires for. I think I've balls this. This rain is not stopping anytime soon. Oh, I need the pit Albon. Almost forgot. Did I make that?
Okay,
I did. Okay.
Okay, box.
So yeah, as you can see, like we are at the minute a lot faster. Well, I think why are we stuck behind signs? And well, it's because Norris is on the fucking slick. So this is just he's just crawling around. Oh, this is really fucked Bottas more so than I fucked him. All right, no, I need to bring Bottas in now before this gets any worse. Oh, I should have just went with the gut and put on the full wet straight away.
Keep your head down.
Okay.
Box.
So hopefully, I think there's maybe enough gap that Russell won't overtake us. Or it might be close anyway. Oh, this fucking McLaren is going so slowly though. It's really fucked us. Oh, I wish there was more of an indicator of like what this is. Because I've seen it go all the way up here before and never actually reach the 4mm. And I've seen it, obviously now it's going all the way up and it is reaching the 4mm. So that's a bit unfortunate that about that. So Bottas has a bit of work to do to maybe recover his race slightly, but I have faith that he will be able to do some work on these wet tires. Make sure to take him off that. I'll let him push with the fuel a little bit because obviously I'll not be burning as much fuel as usual on the wet tires.
Okay, reduce lift and coast. Lovely.
So we'll fast forward a bit, see how Bottas can recover here. I have balls this personally, but we'll have to wait and see. So we have passed under the 4mm mark now. Bottas has been working hard to get back up to the back of Ocon. I think that's a couple of teams pitting for intermediate tires, if I'm perfectly honest. So, but we are in for another big spike of weather in a little bit. So if that comes and everyone on the inters, I'm convinced that's another big spike of weather coming. So I don't want to commit to putting on inters just yet, because I think we're not out of the woods yet, to be perfectly honest. But I will queue it up and then I can just say here, delay it by a lap every time if need be. But I will say, yeah, so more options. Delay pit stop by 1 lap. Now maybe even I'll put Albon on inters. I'll take that risk with him because obviously he's so far back that he just kind of needs any advantage he can get right now.
Yes, okay, box.
So that, okay, maybe we're not actually in for more rain. This doesn't seem to be. It's this, yeah, it's this 2-minute thing with 100% rain that I'm a bit worried about. But I'll need to make, I'm gonna need to make a decision now whether to do it or not. Oh, I think I stay out. I think I risk it. Like Bottas is only getting 8 points at the minute, so just go gung ho on these, and next lap we'll see if this rain does actually materialize. I'll put on 2 speed because I'm now impatient about it. Like, I'm still making up time. Well, I was briefly there making up time on people, so I'm still technically on the right tire for now, I think. We'll have to wait and see. Can we see what our timings are? I'll have to see what his Sector 2, 29.4. So let's see what Bottas does in Sector 2. He's only 1/10 faster or slower at the minute, so we're not losing too much time yet. Still hoping that this rain comes and it is what we need. Oh, I forgot to delay that. Oh, I'm a dick. I hope this... Oh, God. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, my God. Albon just run wide. Well, it doesn't look like this rain is even coming, so it does... Maybe the Inters is the right option. Let's see where we're coming out. We may even need to be in a position where... Nah, I think... Any amount here, I think, is worthy of being on the Inter tires, but we will let Bottas really push these tires because let's see where he can get this car back up to.
What happened there?
So, I'll fast forward a bit, see where Bottas can manage to battle his way up to on the final lap. So, we come back on the last lap for Valtteri Bottas. He is still in a fight with Daniel Ricciardo here for 8th place, as Verstappen takes home the win today at Imola. Hopefully we'll be able to get... oh, I'm not liking the fact that our fuel is in the red though. So I'll just have Bottas conserve and maybe accept that this is going to be a 9th place for us. Bit disappointing. I think we could have done better. I definitely messed up the strategy call. Should have went on the straight wets, but it's hard to tell with that graph really. Alex just making another mistake is the problem, and he's just kind of continually done that, unfortunately. So not really much to say there. Why are you going so slowly? Oh, that's the ass. I thought that was a Mercedes for some reason. So it's looking like a... Could even be a 10th here because I think Ocon might have a decent run at us to the line, but it is what it is. I'm not going to be too displacent. I'll get better at making those calls. But 9th place, more points in the bag. Gasly scoring good points, so that means the Alpine are probably going to creep a bit more ahead of us. But overall, I'm more disappointed with myself and Alex. Bottas doing the best he can despite everything going wrong around him. But confirmation there that yes, it should be Max Verstappen winning the race, flanked by Charles Leclerc and Mercedes getting their first podium of the season. There's now 5 teams on the podium, which is really cool to see. But I'll join you back at the menus and we'll talk about where we're going to come back and what's the plan. So we have just started a new ADR period and we've created some new designs on the go. So they're both due to finish in about 40-ish days, which brings us up to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So we'll get those designed, get those manufactured, and that's where we'll come back next time. We'll also have this new underfloor design, which should be really good. And so I shall see you then. Hopefully a better result than this one. Hopefully I don't mess up the strategy in Azerbaijan or in any other races in between. So I shall see you next time, and thanks for tuning in.